Hey guys, we are back in Changeling for Elliot's Bad End number 3. And this time I've reloaded the last save from Bad Ending number 2. And this time we are not going to slap our brother in the face and have him absolutely lose his mind. And there's not many options that we have to pick after that. So this time we're not going to believe in Elliot, which is very sad. I couldn't believe that. I knew what I saw. I didn't want to think Elliot could do something like that. But I saw the blood. What else could have been happening? There was no other reason he'd have blood smeared all over his face while holding a limp body. I shook my head and backed away. Elliot looked like I just ripped out his heart. Again. I had to resist the urge to feel sorry for him. To crumble. I don't believe you. I think I said it more to convince myself than anything.
Nora. So here you are.
Mark? Wait, was Elliot actually telling the truth? No, just because Mark was here doesn't mean that Elliot wasn't lying. They could have been in on it together. No one had ever said there was only one killer. Dang, even Mark's suspect.
I hate to interrupt, but we are going to have company very shortly. Allie and Danny have been tracking me for some time. I wasn't able to throw them off.
He sighed deeply.
All right. Well, we knew there was a chance of running into them. In any case, we've already contacted Velos, so there's no...
Alright. You were trying to save them? We need to let Velos know. He's with... Okay.
I'll take her to the club room. My car is this way.
To my surprise, he put an arm around my shoulder and pulled me closer to him as we walked. His car was actually parked nearby, just on the side of the road. Stop making plays, gosh darn it.
Are you alright?
I don't know. I guess I have to be. Going to pieces isn't going to help anything.
You look like you're about to faint.
I'm fine. Just tired.
I was thinking you could use one of the locker rooms when we get to the school.
Well, I apologize if my early morning jaunt through the bog is now offending your delicate vampire olfactory sense. I didn't exactly have time to shower before I had to flee the house to get away from my idiot brother.
If you're capable of that level of sarcasm, I suppose you're going to be fine.
Ha ha.
Nora. How do you feel about Elliot?
Why are you asking me that?
It's apparent he has feelings for you, but I want to know how you feel about him.
I get that much. I'm asking why.
Because if you can't accept what we are, then you should make that clear now. I don't particularly care what happens to him, but it's vampire nature to get very attached to others. It would be better for you both to break things off now rather than later.
I don't have a problem accepting that you guys aren't human.
Then why did you run away?
It isn't the idea of him drinking blood or being a vampire. I stumbled on him looking like he was gnawing someone's veins out. It doesn't matter how well you know someone. When you stumble on a scene like that, it's going to be upsetting. Of course I didn't want to believe he was a killer.
You didn't want to, but you did believe it.
What else was I supposed to believe?
If you have only that level of trust in him, you should consider whether or not a relationship is wise.
You sound almost like you're his friend. Or maybe his dad. He made a face and didn't answer. I settled into the seat as we drove in silence. He wasn't wrong. I was disappointed in myself for not believing Elliot, but I couldn't deny that even now I felt a little doubtful of their story. And Mark was right. Being able to harbor those kinds of doubts about Elliot wasn't a good sign. Guilt settled over me as we drove to the school. I just hoped I was able to face Elliot properly after this, though I didn't know how that would possibly be the case. Yeah, I mean, Mark do be spitting facts, though.
Apparently they happened on that victim and the culprit. They tried to take care of it themselves. Mark called for help, then went chasing off after the feral. Elliot tried to save that person by, sucking as much of the venom back through the wound as he could.
Are they... Okay. Oh, I don't even have the option of, like... It is a date. I had to pick, we're just getting coffee. It's not, per se. We're just getting coffee.
Uh-huh. Sure. It was a really rough night, Core. Know what I mean? Right. Okay, well, here are your menus. I'll be back in a minute. I'm rooting for you, Mozzie.
Total lack of being able to read anything. He made little punching motions at the air before he turned around and left. I rolled my eyes as he headed back to the kitchen. What a goof. Yep, just plaster that on top of Corvin's face. There you go. Summary complete. Elliot laughed quietly, but had gone a little red as he stared out the window. Today was supposed to be kind of a date, though. I mean, he'd asked me out last weekend. Not that we were doing what we planned. Not that we ever made any hard plans. It was too bad. I'd much rather be going out with Elliot somewhere, anywhere, rather than doing what I was doing today. Which was hiding from my brother after a long, scary night in the woods. Okay, are we back? Yep. Ooh, you helped me more than anyone.
More than Mark?
I looked at him with surprise. Where did that come from? I mean, you've literally been, like, hanging out with Mark more than Elliot this entire time, so... Yes, more than Mark. I don't even know why you're bringing him up. All he's done is lurk around and be grumpy. You've been much nicer than him.
Not like that's hard. I mean, he's not a bad guy, though. We don't get along well, but I think he's still a good guy, deep down.
Way down. Way down, maybe. Regardless, you're still the one that has been there the most. And put up with the most. Saying things like he's okay with being friends as long as I'm happy. I felt really unworthy of that. I mean, someone who was willing to stand by me even though all the stupidity going on right now. He totally needed someone nicer than me. Less high-strung, and with fewer identity issues. I was pretty sure I did like him. At least a little, but I wasn't sure this was a good time to be thinking about that. Why did the timing have to be so off? No, not yet.
Order's ready yet?
Neither of us answered. We just had other things on our minds besides ordering. At least I did.
Have you two even looked at the menus?
Nope. I leveled an annoyed look at him and he took a step back, holding the menus in his hand over his face. Look, I really just want an Americano, okay? I wasn't trying to be short with him, but it was definitely a weird morning. Corvin shot Elliot a worried look, but if he caught on that I wasn't in the best mood, he didn't say anything about it.
And you, Elliot? The same thing is fine.
Okay, there we go. Now we're back. So instead of looking at Kaya, I tried to ignore it. Wow, get wrecked, Kaya. Known he was a vampire. That's what they did though, right? They drank blood. Even if that wasn't really what he was doing. Could I accept that? Really? It wasn't really romantic, like in movies. I tried to shake off that feeling. No, I had to accept it. I had to. He did not deserve me judging him for that. Setting aside that he'd been helping someone and I just kind of stumbled on him at an awkward moment, it wasn't his fault he had weird dietary needs. Vampires weren't even the only creatures that did the whole blood for food thing. Granted that he probably wouldn't appreciate a mental comparison to a leech or mosquito, but still, it wasn't even that unique a requirement. I was not going to be squeamish about it. He deserved better than that. He deserved acceptance, and I was going to accept it. There. I did it. Good inner talk, me. Not around during my coolest moments. Ouch. Well, we'll have to work on that then. He laughed softly.
Yeah. Alright. Come on, it's not that long of a walk back.
It's a long walk back when you're dodging birch spirits. You really need to eat something, don't you?
I'm just a little lightheaded.
You're not a little lightheaded. You nearly fainted from sitting up. And it's getting worse. But if you bite me... Elliot, you've helped me so much. I can do this one thing to help you, right? I was fighting to keep the shaking out of my voice because the idea of being bitten, by a vampire no less, was just sort of scary. I was desperate to show him it was okay, that we were okay. Maybe I was just desperate to prove to myself that I wasn't close-minded and hateful like my brother.
Nora, we can't. I can't. I mean, there are rules.
No one is here but us. It's not like anyone will know.
Nora,
I hate seeing you hurting. Just do it. It's just a little nibble, right? A snack, if you will.
It's not... Nora, if you keep asking, I won't be able to say no.
Then don't say no?
Nora,
He licked his lips nervously, looking away. It was incredibly obvious what he wanted to do. Whether from hunger or just because he wanted the chance to bite someone. I mean, heck, in the past he'd even admitted to me that he wanted to do it. It kind of made me wonder if that's all he'd really ever wanted from me. That is not fair to Elliot.
I shouldn't.
I turned away from him, frustrated. It was probably a stupid suggestion anyway. We weren't in some weird romance novel. Throwing myself at his fangs was probably a bad idea. And in the end, if he was so adamantly saying no, then at least it meant I wasn't just a snack to him. That was comforting. And offering myself up for some kind of stupid redemption was probably not the best direction to take our relationship anyway. There was a rustle of fabric behind me, and I tensed as I felt hands brushing my hair away from my neck. Oh, he's going for it.
Are you sure about this?
Oh. Looks like he changed his mind. Yes. I'm sure. I said it before I had time to think about anything else. I mean, it won't hurt, right? You have that numbing stuff.
Yeah.
One hand slid around the side of my neck, sending shivers through me. The way his fingers glided over my skin was almost a caress, but also felt weirdly possessive. The hairs on the back of my neck prickled as he leaned closer. I could feel his breath on my skin. He let out a long, shaky breath.
Nora.
He murmured my name softly, and I almost told him I'd changed my mind. But I felt his mouth against the side of my neck and snapped my mouth shut. Dang! We actually get the picture! You can't date a vampire without the biting picture. There was a brief pinch, enough to make me gasp, but the pain faded almost instantly. Even though it didn't hurt, the feelings, the sounds, I hadn't really expected to feel so repulsed by it. I almost instinctively tried to pull away, but Elliot's grip on me tightened, keeping me in place. I sat there stiffly, trying not to even breathe, and trying to not shove him away, because it was gross. I did find it interesting that he went for the neck, though. Like, there were other options. But he's like, no, it's gotta be the neck. The idea of being fed on was gross. I definitely hadn't thought this one through. I thought I was doing him a favor, thought I was helping him. But I hated it. And part of it felt kind of nice, but that made me feel worse somehow. I wanted it to stop as soon as it began. I knew they said I had to accept him like this, that I had to accept this, but I couldn't do it. I really didn't think I could accept that I was just food, that he'd so easily bite me. I realized that I had definitely wanted him to say no, and he didn't. Is he crying? Of course, he can, like, he's touching her. He can feel all the feelings she's feeling. I hated it. I really, really hated it. I'd started to go a little dizzy before Elliot finally released me suddenly and backed away to the other side of the sofa.
Sorry.
He was mumbling, but I could make out what he said. Feeling a little woozy, I put a hand to my neck. It was still numb, but I could feel the little puncture wounds under my fingers. It's okay.
I shouldn't have done that.
Well, I offered.
I shouldn't have accepted.
Neither of us would look at the other, and everything felt tense, awkward, and very uncomfortable. I stood carefully. I'm going to go to the restroom. I'll be back in a few minutes. I retreated to the hall before he could respond, though I didn't think he was going to. Still feeling a little dizzy, I walked slowly toward the stairs, but stopped and leaned against the wall before I got there. I slid to the floor with a hand still to my neck. There was no blood on the wound. I wondered if that was also to do with vampire saliva. I buried my face in my knees. Why did I do that? Why? But I somehow made it downstairs in the end. Alright, this is our last choice. I don't need to save here. So we're going to run up to the 4th floor this time. The problem was that if I went outside, I would have nowhere else to go. And with that cryptic that had chased us earlier, I didn't know how that was going to go for me. I was going to have to try to make it to the club room, somehow. I bolted for the back stairs. Behind me, I could hear Spencer's shoes on the tile as he chased me. I had a head start, and I was hoping I was faster than him. I reached the stairs and started up, wishing my legs were long enough to take them 2 at a time without breaking my ankle or something. We were making so much noise, I was certain Grant was going to hear us. I made it up to the 4th floor and took off as fast as I could as soon as I hit level ground. Spencer was about a flight below me, so I ran a short distance down the hall and darted into the second side hallway. It was super dark down on this end, so I didn't go much past the entrance. Definitely not beyond where the faint light was filtering down. I flattened myself against the wall, trying to breathe silently through my mouth. I just wait for Spencer, and when he showed up, I'd tackle him or something. Take him hostage. I don't know. Apparently, our relationship had devolved into kidnapping and hostage-taking, so I was just going to go with it. I stood there quietly, but there was only silence. No sounds of pursuit, no telltale sound of sneakers on tile. Did he give up? Maybe he was too intimidated by the darkness and rumors about the fourth floor and he turned back. That seemed kind of unlikely, though. He could be stupidly stubborn sometimes. I peeked around the corner cautiously, breath catching in my throat when I saw him down there, closer to the back stairs. But he was just standing there, staring down the first side hallway there. That hallway was completely dark too. There was nothing there. He cautiously took a step that way. Does he think I went down there? I didn't think it was a good idea to let him go there alone. I remembered that feeling that something was lurking around up here, something dangerous. But he started down that hallway anyway, and I just... Dang it. I was going to have to go drag his scrawny butt back out of there. I didn't think it was safe. He might be a stupid, paranoid kidnapper, but he was still my freaking brother. I stalked back that way, trying to quiet the butterflies in my stomach. I seriously hated it up here. What if this is a trap? What if he was just trying to lure me back so he could ambush me? I nearly rethought my plan to go grab him, but I was more worried something would happen to him than I was worried something would happen to me. At least for now. It is darker here. I reached the hall and peeked around the corner. Spencer was standing down near the end where it was darkest. Just standing, nearly completely engulfed in shadows. Spencer? He glanced back at me, just enough for me to catch the look of fear and confusion on his face, and then he was gone. Spencer! I darted around the corner and ran for him. The shadows receded a bit, but when I got to the end of the hallway, there was nothing there. Nothing at all. Well, that was anticlimactic. If I must die, I will encounter darkness as a bride and hug it in mine arms. Did we both get sucked in by the darkness ghost? What happened there? And there was nothing. Just everlasting darkness. Okay, well. Did we get the pictures? Yes. Okay, so it started out okay, but then he started crying. That's what it was. Because I'm like, did I miss the tears to start with? Like, no, he felt her feelings of hate and then started crying. Oh, Elliot. That was rough on numerous levels. Anyway, next time is fire, I guess, so we can probably guess where that's going to end up. Hopefully, I will see you there for bad ending number 4, guys.